In this episode, I was going to talk about struggling franchise units from three different perspectives. Number one being the franchisee, number two being the franchisor, and number three being prospective franchisees listening in. But after I've gone through this, I realized that there's a lot of meat on the bone here, so it would be too long for a solo episode. So today I am going to talk about what struggling units mean from a franchisor perspective and what I think you should do about it. So first and foremost is it may not be your fault, but it is still your problem if one of the franchise units you've sold is not performing well. And yes, I am well aware from being a franchisee of a global system and a franchisor of our own system that it is often not in the hands of the franchisor on how that unit eventually performs. The independently owned and operated part of the franchise deal does play a huge part in that. So I get that. But even if it is the franchisees doing some things wrong or not doing some things or just not being effective, the fact is it's still your problem and you have to figure out how to take care of it. So taking a super step back here is the first thing that you need to do in your system is have access to the franchisee's profit and loss statements. So I highly suggest a mandated accounting vendor that has a unified standardized chart of accounts that everybody has to use. Yes, I know that there's still going to be a lot of variability, not in the revenue part, hopefully, unless someone's going around your system. But in the expense part, there's certainly still going to be some latitude there. But you'll have an idea of what numbers make sense and what numbers don't if you have a lot of data to look at from multiple units or territories. So that system has to have a ranking and stacking function. This is for the franchisor's benefit, but it's obviously also for the franchisee's benefit so that when your franchise business coach is coaching them, they have actual data to talk about and can give them recommendations and spot anomalies in their numbers compared to the rest of the system. So you have to have data in order to coach really well, and to coach really well will help alleviate the number of struggling units. So that is first and foremost what you have to set up in your FDD. If you don't have something like that, get on it and do it as fast as possible. As part of a global system, they didn't have this at the beginning. They tried to implement it later on and it did not work. A lot of people just said, no, that was it. So you want to get this right from the get-go. Second thing is the communication. And I understand sometimes franchisees are not engaging. They're purposely not engaging. And sometimes that's a well-performing franchisee that thinks they have the system and they don't really need your franchise business coach or your guidance anymore. And sometimes it is an underperforming unit that has either just put you in they're wrong and they're ripping me off, so I'm not going to talk to them, or I'm sick of hearing the franchise business coach say the same thing to me over and over again. You have to figure out a way to engage, and it's not always easy. I totally get that. So, but without it, what's going to happen is without communication is one day you are going to get a call that they've reached their end and they're going to close up the shop, or worse, you hear it from the landlord who says, where's your franchisee? Because they haven't been open for 3 days. Usually it doesn't take that long to hear that because I've been there. So you do not want that. And how you do that is just engage in more communication. And that is the key to hopefully righting the situation or finding a way out for that franchisee, whether that's through a sale or to a local neighboring franchisee, or perhaps someone new that's inquired about into your system in that area before. It can help out that way. But the more communication you're in, the better situation you're going to be in. A lot of franchisees don't understand, and I'll go into this in another episode. So if you're a franchisee that's experiencing this, take a look at the next video. But they don't understand that they're going to not go into the store that day, phone the team, that they don't have to come in and they've been let go. And they're going to feel a sense of relief overnight until all the calls start pouring in the next day from landlords, the franchisor, team members. A lot of people are affected, and it might feel good in a very short moment, but it will not in the long term. So, and there's usually ways around it. Everything happens in a conversation. That's the key to all of this. Even as a franchisor, like more and more conversations, better intel you'll have and the better position you'll be in to help out those struggling franchisees. Every system has them. There's no magic model out there that doesn't have some people that are overperforming to the average and some people that are underperforming. Think about this. And if you're interested from a franchisee perspective, check out the next video. And if you're a prospective franchisee and listening to this and are getting kind of freaked out because no one really talks about, like, some of these things don't go as well as other things, don't worry about it. It's something that's in every system, and there's usually ways around it as long as people don't let their ego take control and shut off communication. So franchisors, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below or DM me or go to my website, which is guycoffey.com. Looks like Guy, GUICOFFEY.com. Thanks.